Whether you're just looking to stay warm during a hunt or need maximum concealment, the clothing you wear can make or break a hunt. At MidwayUSA.com, we understand hunting clothing has come a long way, with more meticulously crafted camo patterns, advanced scent control technologies, and weatherproof options to withstand the elements. Hunters have to wait until their favorite season, but shouldn't wait on gear, which is why Midway USA offers super fast shipping. When you're ready for your next system, log on to MidwayUSA.com.
In 1933, Fred Bear created a legacy, pursuing his lifelong passion. Fred's mission was to ensure archery remains accessible to everyone. Here at Bear Archery, we promise to never forget the principles our brands were founded on. From the youngest archer to the oldest, we strive to build bows that give you the best shooting experience. Visit beararchery.com to discover more.
Outdoor Drive Podcast. All right, guys, welcome back. Yet another podcast, 255. It's been real. It's been real good. This is your boy East Coast Trev, and I'm joined with my good buddy, Mr. Madman Mardick.
Yep, I'm here.
Are you though? That was great. Great introduction, dude. Welcome to join us. Thanks.
Yeah, I never miss.
What are you out there busy doing something in the?
Always stay busy, buddy.
What is the truck update?
Truck?
Yeah, your truck.
Oh, my little build, my little camper build.
Yeah, dude.
A little DIY deck.
I know that you haven't opened it up and shown anybody or anything like that, but I know about it.
It's getting close, buddy. I just got some drawer slides in the mail today, so I got to build my. I guess it would be my drawer, my shelf, but the platform is done. The sleeping platform is done, and hopefully I'll have the drawer in for hunt stock. So I'll be ready to rip.
Is that the plan?
That's the plan, Stan.
So then you'll be camping in hunt stock in your truck then?
100% for sure. It's just a matter if the drawer will be done by then, but it should be. I don't see why not.
It's quite a task.
It'll be done. It would be done tonight if we didn't have the podcast.
Yeah, well, things happen, dude. I can name a million things that I would be doing other than podcasting, but you know what? These are the things that we love to do. It breaks up the monotony of the week, especially when you have a rough day, and then kind of come down, sit and do a podcast is always good, especially in the off season. It's kind of, monotonous to do certain things and then, be able to have the podcast to kind of fall back on and.
Yeah. No, it's been fun. I've been kind of being quiet about it, but I'm really excited to have it. I don't think it'll ever be done, but once the platform and drawer is done, I definitely want to do a video. And
it seems to be a pretty big thing, though, right?
I didn't want to do a YouTube video of the entire build because I've watched 100 of them, and nobody wants to sit there and watch somebody rip plywood strips and screw boards together. But definitely do a little rundown on everything and all the features and stuff like that, and get some ideas, because that's what I did, right? I just watched how a bunch of other people did it and stole ideas from people and figured out what would work for me and what I liked and what I didn't like, and just kind of custom did it for how I saw fit for my style,
Which is super cool. It is super cool, man. I wish I had the truck to do it, because it's watching you build it has been pretty awesome, and especially with the travel hunting, dude. When you start to travel and go to different states and do different things, it's definitely something. It's like the mobile game, just to make yourself able to do it and save money by doing that, I mean, I've done it in the tent, but not in the truck.
I don't know how much money you'd actually save in the long run, because this thing has not been cheap to build, but it'd take a while to probably recoup the money I've put into it. But
building a second home.
No, all kidding aside, it's nice that the truck's going to be ready to go at a moment's notice, where I can just get in it, take off, and I don't have to worry about where I'm staying or storage or anything like that. I think I'll definitely use it a little bit here or there this fall. I'm definitely going to use it at hunt stock. Me and Seth have our mid-September trip planned for Rhode Island weekend, and then I think we're gonna try to do a Connecticut version of that too, for a weekend, like maybe end of September, early October. But I think where it's really gonna be awesome is come next spring during turkey season, because I'll be able to just like scoot out of town Friday after work and just haul ass for like Vermont or New Hampshire or something Friday night, crash somewhere in the truck Friday night, and wake up Saturday morning and be there.
Right, right, which is super cool, super
Yeah.
awesome.
Yeah, you just got to get close to some public, and you know how Turkey is. Just
Yep.
get close and just run and gun from there. So, no, it's cool, man. I've had a lot of fun with it.
Well, it's funny is actually our guest is sitting in the green room, so let's just go through the sponsors, dude. Let's get them on and let's get this thing rocking and rolling. What do you say?
You need a damn green room. We don't have a green room.
We do now. We have a professional green room here. So let's break it down. We are our title sponsored by Bowtech. Refuse to follow. If you guys haven't gone out and shot a Bowtech yet, you guys are missing out. Go and check them out. All your local shops here in Connecticut. We have Hall's Archery, so you can go and check those guys out. Fourth Arrow Camera Arms, fourtharrowcameraarms.com, and Huntworth. We are actually also title sponsored by Huntworth. If you guys haven't already, go and check out. There's actually a new release today of the camo, the new camo. So it looks fire. They've done a killer job with it. It's definitely. I'm kind of jealous that like we didn't get the chance to try it out. We got ours on the way, but geez, definitely awesome. Go and check them out. Huntworthgear.com, latitudeoutdoors.com. Some new stuff coming from those guys. They got the new bow hanger, they got a new saddle, new backpack, a little bit of everything. So go and check those guys out, latitudeoutdoors.com. Last but not least, Nor'easter Game Calls. Nor'easter Game Calls, get him in close. He will be next to us here in Hunt Stock. I get so confused with all the good stuff.
In Westminster.
Yeah, whatever. It is what it is. We'll check you guys out at Hunt Stock. Let's get this podcast underway. We are live. It is coming up. All right, we're live. Back in action. All right. We are on with Nick Jeffries from Custom Antler Design. How we doing, Nick?
How you doing, guys?
Did I say the last name right? Because I've kiboshed everybody's last name ever since for 300 episodes. So
No, it's Jeffries. You're good.
okay. It's kind of an inside joke, a little stupid thing that I do all the time. I should have asked before we started. But anyways, we are back on with Nick. Nick, tell us a little bit about yourself, who you are, where you're from, and a little bit about what you do.
Okay. Well, we'll just get started with my name's Nick Jeffries. I'm from Spokane, Washington. I was born and raised here, went in the military, came back, went to college locally at Gonzaga. Got a job in the wildland fire. It's wildland fire and forestry, really. And that's really where my career has been. All the while, I've been playing with antlers. My passion for the outdoors. I've literally been hiking in the woods with my dad since I was 5. I shot my first deer at 10 with a rifle and probably elk at probably around 15. And then when I got out of the military, some guy told me that I need to buy a bow, and I'm missing out on life. And man, was he ever right. So I've been addicted to archery for, 15 years now, since 2008. And I've been building these lights for about 15 years now. It's obviously morphed.
So let's crack into
Hold on,
this.
Jeff. I know you're going to go with this, but I got to stop. I got to interrupt. I want to hear a little bit more about your job, because that sounds so bad. I know we're getting to the antlers and the hunting and all that other stuff, but like, what exactly you do for your day job? Because is it as badass as it sounds?
It really is badass, because number one, they pay me to be in the woods. So that's the first badass part. It used to be that I'd collect sheds, out, but then it turned into private landowners. Then it turned into, now I manage all the lands for the city of Spokane, and I work for the fire department. And so it's like a big deal. So, for instance, we actually just did a big thinning project. And so I write grants and I acquire monies through state fundings and different funding sources. And then I put these projects on the ground doing thinning projects to reduce the wildfire risk. Mm-hmm. And here in Washington, just like all over the West, is burning up, man. And so we're leading the way here in Spokane. And I'm not exaggerating. We had a 30-acre unit burn last weekend. that we had thinned. It was a 50-acre fire. The section that thinned actually helped them catch the fire, slow the roll of the fire, change the fire behavior of the fire, let the retardant hit the ground. And so now we're going to do a big after actions review. We got the head of the Department of Natural Resources, the head of the state coming over. We got maybe the mayor showing up, and it's all work that I'm passionately doing about wildfire in the forest lands.
So are you just like, so you try to stay ahead of the curve? So you find areas that look like it's like high risk areas and try to get ahead of it, thin that out before it becomes a problem. And then I'm sure it's kind of like a big cycle where you've got old timber and stuff that's been managed in more recent years.
Exactly. And the thing is, we've been super good at suppressing fire all over the West. And so the problem with that is now we have fuel loads and unmanaged forests.
Right.
And so by going in here, we're mechanically thinning. We're not doing any prescribed fire. Now, back east and stuff, they do a lot of prescribed fire, and down south. But like in the area that I live, with the fuel loads that we have, with the amount of people, the clean air laws, like you just can't burn. And so we're mechanically chipping and masticating this material. And specifically, we are killing some brush, but a lot of it's small conifer trees. So we're basically saying there's 300 trees in this little section. We're going to leave 10.
Mm-hmm.
So
that's super cool, man.
It is, man. It's super exciting, and that kind of segues into my antler stuff, because I really have thought about taking the dive full time into the antler. Most people think that I do antlers full time, but I just have some good help with the antlers. So, I'm just very career driven. I've worked my whole career to get here in the fire department, and I'm really doing positive things for the community.
So does that translate into like your hunting, like understanding like where the elk live, or?
The forestry absolutely did, and I tell you, my education in shed hunting even, and I know we're going to talk about shed hunting, but basically like everybody and maybe it's different where you're at, but you have to know where to go shed hunt. Now, what does that mean? That means you need to know where the animals are wintering, where their food sources, where their water sources, where their bedding sources are, so you can find those, because there's so much land that they don't just fall off anywhere. So like in the Midwest, I would assume that the whitetails probably winter in very similar areas that they live. But up here, man, they'll move, they'll migrate, they'll move, they'll get pushed out. And so if you're hiking at 6,000 feet looking for elk sheds, that's probably not going to work very well, because they're going to be down at the 4,000 level based on the snow levels.
So that's virtually like the same thing that they do in the moose shed world, where, I mean, the first thing that I do when I see a forester when we're in the North Woods is I try and pull them over and ask them questions like, hey, where have you seen the moose wintering? Where have these cuts been from, the past 7 years? So, because what you're looking for is 7 years of growth where it sticks up above where the snow level is, so that when they yard up, they're yarding up in these certain areas. And that's probably the same thing for you being a forester and understanding where certain food sources are, where they're wintering.
For sure. And I've just been very blessed in my career to get in these positions that really help people too. So, help myself with the antlers, one thing. And now it's morphed into me buying antlers. So I used to only find what I'd build with, et cetera, but the 5,000 pounds that are in the shop right now are not ones that I've found, sadly. There's a few, but nothing compared to what was.
So this is the thing, and I don't think that a lot of people really, truly, honestly understand the trading and buying and selling of antlers, like the economy aspect of it and what it really honestly is. Because, like, what's an elk shed going for right now per pound?
Up north, up here, it's $14 to $18 a pound.
Yeah, so that's
they're 10 pounds.
Yeah, exactly.
I'll show you a pile before we leave here.
So it's the same thing. It's the same thing with moose antlers. So moose antlers. He's all excited. He's all excited.
Antlers. I'm serious. I think she heard antler.
Yeah, that's probably what it was.
Sorry about that.
It's all good, man. They want to come and join too. I mean, they're a big part of the shed world. But no, moose antlers are around the same. I mean, if you're buying them wholesale, it's like 16 to 20, depending what it is. And then when you get into they cut them for chews, you're talking anywhere between 30 and 40 a pound is what they sell them for here. Like, it's nuts. Like, there is so much money into it. And not even, we were talking before in the green room, is like there is the trophy antlers. I mean, the big money. I mean, you're talking a 4 or 5 side whitetail antler that comes off of a 160 to 180. That antler's going anywhere between $200 and $400 just for one side. I mean, it's crazy the money that gets paid on some of these antlers.
You'd come cherry pick my baskets that I drill into daily. I'm not exaggerating. I got stuff from Canada, from Texas, like crazy stuff that you would never drill into, man. I'll put a hole right in it. I don't care. Like, there's 160, 170 sets in the chandelier over here.
And the whole thing is, I know it's kind of like one of these things, and that's always been in the back of my mind. Like, when I really cared about every single antler before I started like cutting them up and stuff, I wouldn't find as many antlers. When I started to not care about them and cut them up for chews and sell them, I found 3 times more antlers. I just don't get it. I don't understand what it is.
I would bet that you're still possessive about the antlers that you have.
There's certain ones. Certain ones. Are you the same way?
Dude, it's crazy. Even the biggest dealers will still be possessive. Like, I'll go to a guy's shop, and like my 5,000 pounds is nothing on his 100,000 pounds that he's shipping overseas. That he's the biggest crafter seller in the U.S. Like, these crazy amounts, and they're like, "You can't touch that bin." I'm like, "What do you mean you can't touch that bin? It's not for sale." And literally, you just become possessive of these antlers, and it's an instinctual thing, and a lot of people have it. Like, can you name 3 people that you know right now that have hoarding levels of antlers? I can.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely.
It's the only thing we say that's okay to hoard, right? Because it has a brown value. That or gold, I guess.
It's kind of... Go ahead, Steve.
At least like me, I can talk me per. Like, I'm not a collector. I'm not a buyer, seller, anything like that. I'm just a shed hunter, and I don't really go for numbers. It's a scouting tool for me to find bucks to hunt, and like, dude, they're hard earned. Like, we don't go and just we don't go scoop piles a day. Like, you might shed hunt all day and not find a shed, right? So like, every single shed that I pick up, like, I put a lot of work in for that shed. So when I start stacking up a pile, like, it might just be a little, like a 2-year-old 8-pointer. Like, dude, like, 10 miles I walk to find that one shed. You know what I mean? So like, it's hard to let them go. Like, they all mean something to me.
For sure.
I think it's the same for me. Like, a lot of the ones that I've scooped, I mean, there's sometimes, some years we've done 50, 60 in a season, whitetails, which is tough. I mean, we live in big woods, right? And it's a little bit tough, but there is certain antlers, even some that I've bought, and I cannot get rid of them. They sit in a pile. I look at them. I bring them to every show with me, and that's that. Like, I will never, dude, there was one point that I was eating ramen noodles and borrowing $20 from my mom, and I had thousands of dollars in antlers, and I would never sell those antlers, and I still own those antlers to this day. Like, you're just not going to get rid of them.
I think we all understand that. It's kind of weird, and it's similar to, like, people are like, "Oh, you go hunting for racks." I'm like, "No, I don't go hunting. Number one, I only use sheds in my art. That's one thing that I'm very picky about, with the exception of a couple giant moose paddles once in a blue moon. But people often ask me, "Oh, so you're going hunting, elk hunting, so that you can bring back antlers to build a chandelier?" I'm like, number one, there's like 8 340 bulls in that chandelier right there, right? Number one, that's not what I'm killing when I'm hunting North Idaho. Like, we're killing raghorns, right? So, and people just don't always have the perception or the understanding that antlers fall off every year, and we pick them up, and it's a sport, and there's a market. And, I could say that I get big piles out of Texas. I get big piles off the Indian reservations. I have a bunch of friends up here that are native, and the network and the amount of animals and the management is epic. And then I get stuff from all over down south, and these dealers will buy from all over, from Arizona, New Mexico, you name it. Like, I can tell you 10 antlers in this room that are from different states, and I can tell you why, based on coloration, based on their density based on their genetics. There's just a lot of different things about antlers that you learn over the years.
So my thing is like, where at what point did you were you like, I'm gonna start building chandeliers? Like, did you start with a light and then you're like, oh, this is cool, or how did it all start for you? Like, where did the custom antler design come from?
That is a good question. So the very first thing that I built was an antler lamp. And I bought a lamp on the side of the highway, and I like to say that I paid more money than I had in my checking because I think I drained it to zero. And I bought this $300, $400 lamp, and I'm like, this thing is so awesome. You know, it's a match set, whitetail sheds. Well, so then I dissect it in later years, and the thing was actually two lefts, stained, gone. I'm not exaggerating. Like, I still have the lamp up on a shelf. It just wasn't what he said it was, but I was so obsessed with the antlers, it didn't matter. So then I started building and, you know, buying antlers and figuring out that I could have more antlers. Well, I had a friend at work of another forester that had collected sheds, just like you know, for many, many years as a forester running lines. And they said, Nick, I will give you all of my antlers. You build me 2 chandeliers, one for my kitchen and one for my dining, and you can have whatever's left. I was like, oh, done. And so I worked on this chandelier probably 4 or 5 months. It was 6 foot. It had giant moose antlers, had big old elk coming up, and then some whitetails in between. And, you know, it was my first chandelier, so everything was a learning process. And, you know, I think that broke the glass and really pushed me into the future. Years later, I look back and I cringe at what I did as far as my finished work and how I put stuff together, and, you know, but that's just from time and experience, right? And so, like, when I send somebody something now, the praise I get is just amazing. Like, that's just a feel good for me. You know, the antlers, the process, the selling the lights to the client, all of it is just part of the process.
And I mean, it's the same thing with like a podcast. If you went back to like episode 1, it was a broken record. Like, you definitely don't want to listen to it, but you slowly start to evolve. Like, it doesn't take you 4 months to make a chandelier now.
No, it doesn't.
What is it? What's the timeline?
Oh, that's secret. No. It depends how much time I have, man. I don't have any time. I work my nights and weekends. You know, if it's a simple structure that I like have built similar to, like, it goes faster than probably people think. But I'm aggressive, man. Listen, I use these big electric drills, and like, I don't recommend it. Like, people are always like, "Oh, what are you going to put on a class?" I'm like, I'm not going to put on a class. Number one. Number two is, man, it can be dangerous. Like, you're drilling out these big old antlers with a big old drill bit and a heavy drill. But, you know, once you go through the function timeline wise, there's let's say there's 30 hours into a light. My finish gal that I have an employee that does all my finish work. She does all my touch ups and all my epoxy work. She'll spend at least a week. Like, I'm talking like 6-7 days a week. So every chandelier has a ton of time and energy put into it. It's just like, I've just figured out how to manage my time so I can still have my job, still have my family, still hunt excessively, and then still keep her gainfully employed. And then I have a cousin who's also a good buddy that does all my crating and shipping. So he'll come pick them up. Like, the one up here is ready to be picked up. He'll pick it up. He'll build a box for it. And that one's going to Tennessee. I think it's going to Nashville, actually. That one's going to a singer-songwriter. But, yeah, that's kind of the process.
That's crazy.
Do all of is it practical for a client to send you their own sheds to build a chandelier, or are they all sheds that you acquired and build them?
I can build out of any antler. I always tell people, number one, I can build anything out of antler. You name it, I'll build it, man. I'll build you a house. If somebody paid me to build a house, you know, it'd have to be a couple $1 million, right? But I would do it because I could do it. I would say this. if you send me crappy antlers and they're all spindly and they're all white, and that's the kind of chandelier you're going to get back. That's the kind of product that you're going to get at the end. But if you send me your cherry-picked whitetail sheds like you got sitting on the back of your deal there, I could build you a lamp or a creation or a chandelier that is just second to none. And the finish work on it, we're not going to stain anything. So you're still going to see all the natural tones, and you're still going to remember all your antlers. So I would say 100% I build for people with their own antlers. It cuts down the cost a little, but you're still paying for my time, my knowledge, and then all my finish work, and then we got shipping. So, it's not that it's going to be that much cheaper, but the reality is, yes, absolutely, I build out of people's cuts and rack, or their cutoffs.
Yeah. Plus, you're playing shipping both ways. Like, I got to ship you my antlers.
Yeah, it's kind of a pain in the butt
too. So
depends how big the antlers are. If they're elk horns, like I've done local ones out of elk horns.
Yeah.
I've had people drive me 10 hours to drop me off elk horns. It's not that crazy. Depends what you want.
You're not going to ship farm raised 280-inch giant, a box of them to make a chandelier from here in Connecticut. I mean, that would be astronomical. I mean, shipping just one antler can get expensive. I couldn't imagine shipping an entire chandelier.
Yeah, they can be expensive. I shipped, I'm trying to think. I think that big one to Arizona was $1,500 with the crate.
Wow.
But the chandelier was much more money than that. So
yeah, but you get what you pay for, man. Like something like that, art in itself, dude. It's like you're tattooed. I'm covered in tattoo. Like it's art. You're paid for the art. I mean, like that's what you're paying for. Like you can't really put a dollar sign on that, honestly.
No. Well, and you have to some extent, because people have to have a number to buy it. But with that said, I've built pieces for people where they literally give me free rein. They say, "Hey, you are the artist. I want you to create me something." And and then in their love of the end, they cut me that check, right? And it works out well. But yeah, it is interesting, and it's interesting pricing stuff. I try to be reasonable with people because I don't want to be like the guy that no one can afford, right? Like the guy that loves antlers, I want him to have a chandelier just as much as I want us building a house to have a chandelier. So I try to be reasonable in all fashions. I am getting busier though. I'm 4 to 5 months out on build times right now.
You said that one behind you is going to a singer-songwriter. It sounds like you have like an upper echelon of some clientele. Is there anybody in particular that you can like name drop that actually you can publicly say that they have your artwork in their house or anything like that?
Well, other than the Barron family, the Barron family has been super open with everybody and sharing it on their channels. And if you're not a fan of Hannah Barron or Jeff Barron, I think you need to go check them out, because they're just like the most epic people in the world. Like I'm personally like epic people, not just like what they do. Like they go fishing, and like Jeff's this build anything dude, but like he had a video last night about his arrowheads, and they were just cool, man. He's just full of cool knowledge, But we built a bunch of big chandeliers for them, and we've just publicized it, or they've publicized it really, and it's just been really astronomical for me in my business, because it's about getting your name out there. And like I was already busy, but I'm building stuff that no one's ever seen before. Like, have you ever seen a 4-tier chandelier with no metal in it? Literally all 140 premium 150 class whitetail sheds. Like I built that, So as far as other famous people, we got some stuff in the works, and we'll see what happens. But I know my product will, compete with anything in the country or better. So I just do things differently.
Well, I mean, I guess since we're on the topic, I mean, you might as well spill the beans in the fact of, you going and doing stuff with your nonprofit, because I'd really like to talk about that too, honestly.
Okay, yeah. So, well, that falls into the Hannah Barron, and that's why you brought that up. So Hannah Barron, I built her the chandelier, I built her 5 chandeliers. But in that works, I was like, listen, I want to bring my family down noodling. And noodling, if you're not familiar, is stick your hand in the catfish's mouth, get bit, pull them out by the lower jaw, get them by the gill plate, and pull them out of the water. And not everybody knows what it is, man, let alone wants to do it. But I just felt like I wanted to go down south, number one, just be totally out of my element, man. Listen, I'm a North Idaho, Northeast Washington guy that elk hunts a lot, right? So I'm totally out of my element. And we went down there, and my kids had the most epic time I can ever explain to you. We filmed it for our nonprofit, and it'll be coming out here in a month or two. We did some bow fishing, but basically the nonprofit, to tie that back in, I guess, is a 501c3. Our purpose is to give hope and mentorship to veterans that are struggling, or veterans that are not, or people that are struggling with PTSD and TBI, through basically messages of hope and success within our hunting and fishing show. So it's unique. It's our goal is not to take, like, I would consider myself a broke veteran, so I don't want to like misname this, but like my goal is not to take veterans out hunting all the time and then just tell a story that we took a veteran hunting. Like, there's nonprofits that do that, and they're doing good, but that's not our mission. Our mission is to get the guy that's sitting there listening to this right now to get on darkhorseexpeditions.com, find our link, find our videos, and find some hope. And, you know, I think the end all is like, we are just sick of this veteran suicide epidemic. And it's similar to the drug epidemic, you know, and other epidemics in our country. But this one hits home to me because I've been in this dark place, and I've survived this dark place, and now I'm thriving. And I think that other people can do it too. And so that is why I'm so passionate about Dark Horse.
So my thing with this is, and you kind of hit on this, is that there's 1,000,001 50c3s out there, right? And there's a ton of them that are doing these missions for veterans, and we're 100% for it. Don't take this by any means wrong. Like, we've had a ton of them on the podcast. We stand behind them. We've done a ton of events with them, so on and so forth. But the thing is, like, to do something a little bit different is always, because there's so many of them doing the same thing, and it's not, I guess, I don't even know how to say this correctly, to be honest. Like, they sometimes they're bringing the wrong people out there, and they're not touching the right people that need it, because there's still the suicide aspect of it, where they're bringing somebody who has never been in the infantry and been in the front lines of duty and don't have the right reasons to be over there, because we've heard horror stories of that.
Well, even if you go deeper than that level, like let's just say you are a veteran, you are a person that served in the military. Okay, so the one thing I think the back part would be that you got to know that PTSD is real. And
Midway USA brand product designers have one straightforward goal: develop high-quality, technically sound products and deliver them to customers at reasonable prices. If you are immersed in the shooting sports industry and pay close attention to every single detail, you know our products are built right and stand up to everyday use. Who has shooting mats and range bag systems to hunting clothing and just about everything for the outdoors? Log on and shop 24/7 with super fast shipping. MidwayUSA.com. At Midway USA, we know the AR-15 is one of the most popular rifles in modern American history. Known for its modularity and widespread use, it's often considered essential to any gun collection. The essential things you need to run an AR-15 are usually always in stock during shortages, things like magazines and 5.56 ammo. Whether you're looking to buy a new AR-15 or buy parts for your modern sporting rifle, log on, and for just about everything for the outdoors, shop MidwayUSA.com.
I say that, but I didn't believe in it prior to my life outside in the civilian world. Like, when I was in the Marine Corps, PTSD didn't exist. And so I think that anybody can have PTSD for a variety of reasons, man. It could be as crazy as a sexual assault when they were younger, but they were in the military, and now they have this PTSD and they don't know where it came from, right? But they're still at risk, right? So I think that if we just say that any person that is suffering from PTSD or TBI, I think that them helping them is a positive, and we need to keep those contributions going. But like, I would see that a lot of those are probably helping guys that are like got their shit together a little. Like, if I'm going to go hand someone a gun, like they probably got their shit together a little, so that I can take them out to take them to the range, right?
Right.
Or take them to the duck hunt, or take them to the elk hunt, or whatever that looks like. So what you're saying, in if I'm reading this right, is that these people that are sitting on the couch that don't have the ambition or the actual purpose in life, literally purpose in life,
For sure.
are the people that we're trying to reach, and that is exactly right.
Because a lot of them, the ones that have now stepped, with being an outsider and being a civilian, is like, you see the ones that have accepted the fact that they have PTSD, right? And they are okay with it, and they have come forth to be able to move forward, to go to these 501s and go on hunts and so on and so forth. It's not them that we're trying to target. It's the other ones that have not brought themselves forward. And I'll tell you an exact story of what happened is, we had so I was a charter captain for years in a fishing boat, and there was this gentleman who was a friend of a friend, and I invited him out fishing on a boat with us, and he'd come out fishing on the boat, and I kind of had a read on him, and it kind of had, you could tell that he had been through a lot. He was actually a pilot, been overseas a handful of times, and you can just tell there was an empty space in him in conversation, right? Like, and you, Nick, you can probably read it from a mile away. You can just see that there's just not a human there, right? Like, something's wrong. There were certain things about him. So, and I just happened to be in contact with him and be able to have, converse with him. Well, I had invited him out for a day to go to a hunting thing, because someone had reached out to me. Hey, Trev, I have an outdoor day for a veteran. And it clicked right in my mind. That's the one that needs to go.
The perfect fit, right?
Perfect fit. After this had all happened, and I'm not trying to pat myself on the back, I'm just trying to hit it home, is he reached out to me and he's like, can we go to lunch? Because I really want to go out and thank you for the fact of you reading and seeing that I needed something like this, and myself didn't even know that I needed something like that. And like, there's so many of them gentlemen out there that fight hard, and they go and they commit suicide because they don't have help. They don't have people to see it. They don't have people to lead them in the right way, where what you're trying to do will lead them in the right way.
That pretty much nails half of our mission there, man. So I appreciate that. And guys and gals, anybody that, and I like, there's a lot of cops and fire guys. Like I work for the fire department. Like, there's a lot of cops and fire guys that, have PTSD issues. And like I'm not saying no to them. Like, our goal is to bring them in, give them a message of hope and mentorship, find them resources, know that there is resources out there, know that they're going to have to step outside their box. Listen, I fought for everything I got from the VA, but I'll tell you, I'm well taken care of now. I still eat VA meds, but guess what? I got my sanity. I got successes, so.
What was it? What was it for you? Like, when you came home, like what was kind of like your moment where you've kind of realized that you had to deal with some of the civilian life?
It was bad, man. So I was an infantryman in the Marine Corps, 03 to 07. We did the push through Fallujah, which was the biggest, Phantom Fury was the biggest land assault since Vietnam. And then we did a push south of Fallujah, the second deployment, man. And I was a damn good Marine, but I would tell it like this. I wouldn't wish it upon anybody, but I wouldn't trade it for anything. And we saw some shit, man. We really did. When I got out, I didn't believe in PTSD. No exaggeration. To the day I got out, within a week, I had this bone-crushing anxiety that would just eat my chest, and I couldn't even function, man. I was somehow still married to my wife. I don't know how, but somehow I'm still married to her. But I just explained to her, and she's like, you need to get help. And, she pushed me into this counseling, and I got pushed myself into the VA, and I pushed myself into meds. And then at one point, I think I quit alcohol. Then I got back on alcohol, and there's just been a pattern of craziness. And I tell people this with no shame. It took me 15 years to live with PTSD, and I didn't get rid of it. I live with it. Okay, so for those of you out there struggling, like, it's real, man. It's real, and it's a fight, and it's not going to quit until you have to be the one that conquers it, right? Or it will conquer you. But the anxiety, man, I would have intrusive thoughts. I don't know if you know what that is, but like violent thoughts, man. You'd be sitting in a classroom with a bunch of 18-year-olds. I was 23 years old. And I'm sitting there trying to get educated on whatever the topic was, and you just see violence in the room. And like, it was gross, man. It really was. But I think that what I like to tell is that there is a light at the end of the tunnel. Like, as time progresses, things will get better. Like, I can talk about any of my stories if I can remember them, but I can talk about anything, man. It doesn't bug me at all. And honestly, there's not really a lot of things that even trigger me near what it used to. But I've managed those symptoms. I've medicated myself with the right way of medication. I also don't use alcohol or drugs, and that's just my choices. And I think there's positivity that vibes off that.
It's funny because so I have a friend, we'll call him friend X, and there was a lot of times that we would sit down, pig roast, whatever have you, and we would have a bottle of whiskey, and these guys would start to tell stories, and one of them was in Fallujah, and I'll tell you what, when he came home, it was one of the most craziest rides ever. Like when he come home and he was still they still had him like on base, like kind of like clearing or whatever. And
Yeah.
he came home and he went to, I remember it like it was yesterday, goes to Dunkin' Donuts, and he had someone behind him and they beeped the horn. And he absolutely lost his mind. Like, got out the car, dragged him out the car, beat up the dude. Like, because you are so tuned in with what was going on there, and his PTSD was so bad, he just lost his mind. And then, over years, I mean, he's probably, one of the best people in the world now. No problems, therapy, so on and so forth. But, like, the stories is just incredible. Like, us as civilians can't even seem to understand from the beginning what somebody goes through.
Well, put it in this perspective. We are not the strongest country in the world because we have a weak military. We have a very strong military. And in the military, they are so good at training you that you don't know how to turn it off once you get out. That's really part of the problem, right? So they have these classes now that help, but like when I got out, man, I remember like a 4-hour class, and it was like, here's how to be a civilian. Good luck. But like, listen, they taught me for 4 years how to kill shit, and then they taught me for 4 hours how to not. How does that work? And maybe that's why I'm such a good hunter. But
well, not even the 4 years. How long was boot camp? Pre going in overseas is how many weeks?
Well, so boot camp in the Marine Corps is 3 months.
Yeah, so 3 months,
and then another 2 months. 2 months of SOI, School of Infantry, so there are 5 months, and then another 4 months for workup, and then I was in Fallujah. So I literally trained for like 8 or 9 months, went to combat for 7 months, came back for 8 months, went to combat for 7 months, came back for 11 months, got out. That was my whole shit and caboodle.
So do you think, with that being said, do you think they should spend more time with these guys before they release them? If it takes 8 months coming in, do you think they should take more time, filtering them back out before they kind of release you?
I don't know that we'd solve the world's problems even with that. I think that they make such good Marines these days. That's why everybody's like, I'm still a Marine. Like, I'm still a Marine because that's what's ingrained in me, right? And so I don't know that would solve the problem. I think that the mental health side of everything is really like, as you adjust into civilian society, like one of these, and they're doing a better job, man. I know people that have gotten out and, they didn't see necessarily the extent of what I saw, but on the same note, like, they're still getting out and these resources are available, readily available. And they're not like, dude, I fought for everything that I got, man. I didn't even know what a service connection disability was when they wrote the thing. Like, it didn't even occur to me that I was going to get a disability for my PTSD, right? And like veterans now should know these things coming out. Should. I'm not saying it's foolproof, but it's better than it was.
Well,
But
it's like taking a pit bull and fighting him in a basement for his entire life, and then letting him out in the streets, and then go into a house with 3 other dogs and not expected to rip his fucking head off. I mean, like that's
it's not going to go well. Exactly.
I mean,
Well, I think back to the other point though. You said this transition out would be longer. Well, really, our problem now is we had 20 years of war, and we have a pile of veterans from those wars.
Mm-hmm.
So it's not even like the fact that guys and gals getting out of the military now, like yes, they need help, right? They still need some resources, but like, what do we do with this 20 years? And that's where my nonprofit, like, I feel like fills some of that gap, or is going to try to. Listen, we're just getting started, man.
So what is like the mission? What's the full mission? Like what is your mission, or what do you see that you want to do, or how are you going to try and get them involved in being part of the TV show, or like what is?
No, it's more just for them to find the depth to go out and reach for those resources. Listen, there's VA resources there. There's these things called veteran centers. There's VA hospitals. There's private therapy. There's medication routes. There's inpatient routes. There's outpatient routes. There's nonprofit routes. All these nonprofits. But like, once you start to get connected with any of those things, like, boom, your world's going to change, man. It's these people that are just segregating themselves and saying no to the man. And by the man, I mean help, right?
Right. Yeah. No, we knew what you. Yeah.
Yeah, sorry. But yeah, no, it is. It's real, man. And, like, I'm just sick of watching my buddies kill themselves. Like, dude, I had a good buddy here recently that offed himself, and it's sad, man. It just makes me furious about, everything that we did. And war is nasty, man. War is not something we want to be involved in, but we have to have it, right? So I chose to be there, and I chose to live with the repercussions. But like, now I look back in hindsight and like, I don't know, man. I want to help.
Especially those that, are kind of, stubborn in their ways, right? I mean, us as, men in itself are stubborn to want to be able to get that help or go above and beyond and ask another man. Like, you're going to, if it takes a certain person to ask for help, like, or even know where to get the help, I guess, right? I mean, like.
Yes. Agreed. Even know where to get it. And so, like, our website's just full of different resources. And literally, it's got a phone number on there. Like, and I always tell people, like, man, listen, my phone number's all over my webpage and my Instagram and my Facebook and all the other. Call me, dude. Listen, if you're having that bad of a day and you need to talk to someone, you call me. Listen, we'll find something or someone that'll start you in the process of resource, right? There's no day not worth living, not in this America that we live in, I'll tell you that. To just understand how flippin' blessed we all are to do what we do and live how we are, man. I come from a different background, and I just have that in my life, and that's why I live life to the fullest. I treat people how I want to be treated, man, and good things just happen.
So do you feel as like when you, and I don't mean to keep picking on you, but like when you came home, did the outdoors help you with a lot of this stuff and gaining back?
100%, man. So the definition is that hunting and fishing is the only place that is just completely anxiety-free, meds or not. Come on. Sorry, we got a dog.
It's all good. We love dogs, man. We're dog
people. She's my shed dog, man. She picks up horns, but she's also annoying. So
I got the same problem. I'm surprised mine's not in here running around.
So, hunting and fishing, man, I can also turn off everything else, and that's part of my problem is that, like, part of my therapy is antlers, right? So I actually had a therapist tell me this once, that building antler lights is therapeutic because it keeps me busy. So I sell the lights I talk to the clients, I talk to them about antlers, I buy antlers, I sell antlers, I take the order for the chandelier, there's the monetary exchange, there's the building the chandelier, there's selling the chandelier, and all these things are therapeutic for me, okay? But I'll tell you that I also have another job that I work 40 hours a week with. I also manage a household with a wife and 2 kids, and I also hunt excessively. So when I go to the woods, I don't think about any of this, man. And most of the time, guys and gals, your phone doesn't work very well, and that's usually a blessing, right? You know, why do you go to the woods? Is that is the question, why do I go to the woods? To
No,
seek
peace.
peace, man. It's there. It's there. Like, tell me a time that you've ever had a bad day in the woods other than a breakdown or something. Really?
No, I totally agree, man. There's so many times, like, and I can agree to this. Like, when you're going through the worst things in your life, I mean, there was a case I had not too long last spring. I was just going through some shit, and it was tough. And I literally got on my e-bike and I went and shot 2 Jake turkeys just cause. I mean, it was just like I'm in the woods. It happened. It all came down, and just life changes, right? It just like it's a snap of the fingers. And I could imagine you coming home from overseas, Fallujah. I mean, dude, it's like that's the worst of the worst, and come home, and I bet the most therapeutic thing was to be in the mountains again.
Dude, I missed hunting a lot, and then now, it's this excessive thing that I have been blessed to be able to do, right? Every year it gets a little more excessive and a little more crazy. But I feel blessed to live where I'm at. I live in the West. Idaho's 5 miles from me. So boom, I'm going to Idaho. I do have an Idaho tag this year, so that'll be good.
So you're saying you were close to Idaho?
Yeah, well, it's just being blessed up here in the Northwest, man. This place is amazing. You guys want to make a trip up here, hit me up. I'll take you fishing, shooting, doing something. I'd tell you that I'd take you hunting, but I won't because I'm selfish with my tags. I got too many tags, and I already got too many commitments with other people, and yep.
I understand.
Maybe turkey hunting. Actually,
Okay.
guys love turkey hunting, man. Listen, we got more turkeys than we know what to do with, and I got more private landowners than I know what to do.
Don't tempt us with a good time, dude.
I'm kind of a novice turkey hunter, but I'll come out and try it.
Yeah, I'm a novice turkey hunter too, man. I like stuff with antlers.
Turkey hunting. I mean, turkey hunting out here is different than turkey hunting out there. They say that the turkeys are just suicidal out there compared to an eastern turkey.
I don't know. I don't know. I haven't. I'm supposed to go. What are the Osceolas in Florida?
Oh yeah.
I happen to have a chandelier client like every state, but I happen to talk hunting for some reason. I don't know why, but he says he's going to take me Osceola hunting this spring. So
take him up on it because Osceola is one of the hardest ones to get into and kill, honestly, because there's so much private land, and they've kind of been eaten up. Yeah, tiny region too. But you have to be careful. Everything there will kill you. Everything from bugs to black panthers. It is nuts. Anacondas and
alligators.
It's nuts. It's
what else you got to be careful of? Speaking of that, did you see this article that came out the other day? Those guys that got charged for selling fake Osceola hunts?
No.
They were breeding domestic birds to look like Osceolas, and then charging guys like $4,000 to come shoot them, and they got caught.
Wow,
that's priceless. Well, Nick, I got one last question for you, man, and that we want to know what drives you outdoors. I bet you it's pretty easy for you, honestly.
I think there's a lot that drives me outdoors. I think the peace and serenity of like just being in my own realm. I think the physical challenge. I think that's why I like elk hunting so much, and we could talk about my elk tags. That's plural. But, like the challenge of killing an elk is a big deal. Like how many, have you guys killed elk yet?
No.
You need to put that on your list. Like next year. I'm not exaggerating. Like you are, like when somebody told me I'm missing out on archery, I tell people like you're missing out on elk if you're not there. Like it is just a thing. So you go out and you kill this monster spike elk, whatever it is. It doesn't matter. Okay. Antlers are relative. I got plenty of antlers. Then you have to get this thing out of the woods so you can eat it, right? So you have to pack this thing out. And you're like 5 miles back half this time, right? So now you got this archery elk that you just killed with your bow. You're 5 miles back. There's not really anybody that motivated that wants to come help you. And that's just being honest. I'll always help a friend, but, I'm usually hunting while other friends are hunting. So really it's like, I've packed out whole elk by myself. And that's not an easy job. And then you get it to the butcher or you cut it up yourself. And so it just gives me this drive to be successful because it's so hard and not everybody can do it.
So what is a pack out entailed? Like, how long is a pack out?
Well, it depends on where you kill the bull. So I happen to have one spot, and I won't be there this year because I'll be in Oregon for opener. The first 5 days of the Idaho season, I can sit on this water hole, and I've killed 3 bulls in the first 2 days in this water hole. And I'm not exaggerating. Once you kill the bull, it's about 300 yards down to a trail, and it's about a quarter mile out to the truck. Okay? You can't get these things out whole in the areas that I hunt. So you still have to just start dicing, man. You cut the hide off, throw the hide out as your blanket, and then you start chopping quarters out. And then you put them in your backpack and you pack them out, right? And you try to stay up around 100 pounds or less so you don't blow your knees out. And you could get, 3 to 5 trips depending on where the elk is. Usually no matter what happens, what pack frame I'm using, and like I'm using better pack frames now than I ever have, but some of these nicer hunting packs actually have frames inside them, so you put the quarter inside, and then you pack them out. But I've packed out the furthest pack out probably 5-6 miles. I packed the bull out solo one year, and this is a true story. I shot this bull, I packed it out, and I'd just make runs. So I'd grab a quarter, then I'd make a run down, I'd come back up the mountain, and it was 5 miles. It was mostly downhill, but you had to come back up to grab the other crap. So physically you're moving downhill with the weight, but you still got to go back up. And I was already up the thing once in the day. So I got down all the way to the truck. I got home. I took off my boot, and my wife says, "What's that on your toenail?" And I had literally burned a hole in my polyester sock. And it had melted to my toenail. That's a true story.
That's nuts. I couldn't even imagine. Honestly, could you imagine, Steve, walking down 5 miles
No.
with that on your back?
Multiple times.
More than once. I couldn't even imagine. We kind of complain. I mean, like that doe that we had last year, dragging that thing out. Like, I couldn't even imagine 5 miles. I mean, that's nuts. 5 miles is insane, Nick.
It is. It is. You know what we're going to do? We're going to change this up a little because for whatever reason you got dropped. Can you still hear me okay?
Yeah,
Oh,
we
yeah.
hear you. You look better, too. Look at that.
Oh, man.
That sounds That looks horrible.
Yeah.
I know. It's going to be horrible, but I'm going to have to sit here with you guys out here.
Too bad, huh?
That's outside your shop.
That's my back porch, brother.
Oh, my gosh.
Well, that doesn't suck.
That doesn't suck. So little did I know how good it would be for my marketing. When I bought this house a few years ago, and I bought this house, and so I put my chandeliers up here, and I take videos. If you've seen my Instagram,
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
and it turns out pretty rad, man. So I always wait till sunset. Well, that's half the time when I'm home anyway. But a good sunset with an antler chandelier, that'll do the trick.
Wow. That's incredible.
Thank you. I appreciate it, man. And this is what I'm telling you, man. I'm extremely blessed, and I don't know whether it's all, God's given gifts to me, or if it's all stuff I've worked for, or if it's a combination of everything. But I really do feel blessed that we live in this country, and we can experience all these things.
The 1911 is one of the most iconic firearms in history. Designed by John Browning, the 1911 was the standard issue sidearm of the U.S. military from 1911 to 1985. While Colt produced the original, almost every major firearm company has produced its own version. It's wildly revered for its reliability, crisp trigger, and is still a favorite for all types of shooters. Whether you're looking to buy or build a 1911 and just about everything for guns, log on to midwayusa.com. Knives, machetes, saws, and shears, multi-tools, shovels, swords, axes, spears, hatchets, and tomahawks. If it cuts, snips, slices, or chops, Midway USA has it. Find great gift ideas in our huge selection of pocket knives and other everyday carry folding knives. Make a statement or create a family legacy with one of our top-of-the-line hunting knives. We've got a great selection of manual and electric sharpeners too. For just about everything for the outdoors, check out midwayusa.com.
Charging your boat battery has never been easier. Our 20, 30, and 40 amp Battery Tender Wave Charge Pro multi-bank chargers safely charge and maintain your boat batteries. The 2, 3, and 4 bank chargers are waterproof, vibration resistant, and will never overcharge your battery. Whether you're on the water, on the road, or in the wild, Battery Tender has you covered. With our variety of battery chargers, jump starters, and solar chargers, Battery Tender can charge and maintain any vehicle's battery. Start with trust. Start with Battery Tender.
The elk tags we were talking about earlier. So I have more elk tags than I've ever had this year. I have 5 elk tags. Are you there?
Yeah, we got you.
Yeah, sorry.
It's okay.
So I have a Washington tag, which will be a late season archery tag. I have an Oregon tag, which is a semi-guided, basically tree stands and blinds. I have a Utah archery or rifle September hunt. I have a Colorado rifle drop camp hunt. And I have an Idaho rifle tag.
Jeez. Now, are they all draws?
Some are purchased, some are draw.
Wow, that's incredible. How are you going to fit it all into the, like, that's a lot.
Then I have
Oh, jeez.
I have a archery mule deer hunt late season in Idaho, which is an epic tag on private land. But I don't know what I'm going to do, man. I have a job and I have another business, and I'm just going to, week at a time, just dish it out and do my thing. You know, I got all the dates set, and I'll be on some more vacation than I have, and I don't know. We'll figure it out.
I was just going to say, it doesn't sound like there's going to be a lot of chandeliers getting built between September and October.
No, there's probably not going to be that many chandeliers being built September and October, man.
But that's all right.
Listen, people understand that, like, that is my passion. And, like, when I talk to people, like, they understand that. And so, you know, they're fine waiting. And so right now I've been taking orders. I'm usually 100 days out. So I'll just push them out another month or two.
I think is what Nick just did was Nick just did a part 2 to be continued is what this really ended up coming up to. Honestly, Nick. And
for the elk hunts? Absolutely.
Yeah.
I mean, telling stories and going through the entire season and kind of what it is. I think that we have to line up a postseason Western elk mule deer hunt with Nick Jeffries is what it sounds like to me.
Dude, I'd like that a lot, man. And we got, you know, with the nonprofit we're growing too, but, you know, I think that we could actually just go into detailed stories of chasing some Western big game. I'm not exaggerating. Some of these tags are just more than I deserve, man. The Colorado tag, for instance, is it doesn't take much to draw the tag, but it's an area that is really hard to get into. Well, my partner's been there, and my dad and I and him are going rifle hunting, and we're going to get way back in about 6 miles on a drop camp. So they take you in on horses. And so from there we'll hunt on our own, but we got like 6 or 7 days. You know, I actually got an extra spot. I was thinking about bringing some guy with a camera, but um, you know, if someone had the time and the energy, wanted to go to Colorado, you got a video camera, brother?
Yeah, it's got a
No,
record button. I know how to push it.
hey, I'm being serious. You don't have to be a professional. It's there is a spot open, but
I can ride a horse.
listen, I can't ride a horse, but we're gonna figure it out. So I do anything to go elk hunting, guys. I literally do. Like I can't stress that enough. Like my passion is being outdoors, playing with antlers.
What is it about elk hunting that drives you to it, man? Like everybody says that it's like an overgrown turkey, like where my addiction is turkeys, where Steve's has become turkeys. But what is what is it? Is it the rut for you?
Dude, the rut is awesome, but it's the I seriously think it's the challenge. Like I've turkey hunted and it's not the same thing. Like calling them in is similar, right? And that's maybe what people like say is similar, but I think the reality is that, you know, if you can kill an elk a year, like you're doing something right. Like there's so much to that. I've killed 3 elk in a year. I've killed 2 elk in a year. I've killed 1 elk in a year.
Let's come outside.
Apparently, sorry guys. Come on, Perry.
That's what it's all about. We like dogs more than humans here on the Outdoor Drive, so it's not a big deal, honestly, Nick.
This dog's gonna kill me.
Or you're gonna kill it. One of the two.
No, she's a shed dog, man. She's worth like $5,000. Anybody want her? I'll sell her. So pick up an elk shed and bring it to you.
Yeah. What about a moose shed? Does she know how to pick up moose sheds?
Dude, moose are the easiest. They stink the most.
They do. Hey, don't tell all the secrets and make my dog look bad, Nick.
Yeah, moose are the easiest. Brown elk horns are probably the hardest. Brown deer typically just smell like the deer more.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So we are going to do a part 2, and we're going to talk about the Western hunting season. What else do you guys want to know about antlers, man? I'm so thrilled to be on here tonight. I think that we can show I don't know, is it okay if we show a video of some antlers?
Yeah, we can walk through it. Absolutely.
While you're doing that, I've been thinking about this. Oh, we're talking about what it is that you love about elk hunting, but this whole podcast I've been thinking, what is it about antlers that we are drawn to so much? Like we're all obsessed with bone and antlers and like every little thing about them. So like in your words, like what is it about antlers that you love so much, and what draws you to them, and why are you so obsessed with them?
Well, we like to say when we're drilling into them that it smells like money, but that's just a joke though. Honestly, I think that it's just this there's something about them that draws people. Like they're like, don't get me weird, man, but like the smell of them, even like a deer horn has a certain smell when you pick it up, right? You know, it smells like where the buck's been rubbing. The coloration, the striation, the texture, the extra points. Like I remember when any antler was cool, and now you know I can show you a pile as I walk inside of, you know, there's like several $100,000 sitting out there just in the lawn because I don't care about the crappy stuff anymore. But the reality is that I just like every antler has such a cool piece to it that it drives, man. And like, I don't know anything else in the world that it's okay to hoard. Really. Except for gold and antlers.
So it's kind of crazy because like antlers in themselves, they each tell their own story, like genetically, right? Like when you take an antler, so if you take a skull and you look at it and you can see where it has added an extra point here or a kicker or flyer here, but then it's taken it away from this side. Like just to see, like, I don't know. I've sat there and just stared at antlers for thousands of hours and just like, I know it's weird, but like some people do drugs, but mine is just looking at antlers. It's just an addiction. It's a bad addiction.
Yeah, agreed, man. It's a good addiction.
It is.
There's nothing bad that can come from antlers.
Nick, why don't you show us a little bit for the people at home so they can see what it's all about?
All right, let's see if I can figure this sucker out here. Well, so this is what I was talking about sitting out front. So there's a little pile, but
OMG.
listen, dude, here's a 7-point elk shed.
That's $300-$400 sitting right there.
No, that's like 100. Okay, so we got, let's see here. We got deads hanging on the wall. We got a chandelier there. This is part of that 8-footer.
Oh my gosh.
So this is the other tier, the third tier to the 8-footer. This is what we call poundage. So it's got, like there is a 160 class whitetail. That's, several hundred pounds. Piles, there's like drop tines in here. Just
OMG.
piles and piles and deadheads. You guys sure you're ready for this?
I don't know. I'm not really sure. Holy crap.
Okay, so that entire wall is matched sets of mule deer and whitetail. So the top is all whitetail, and this whole bottom is all mule deer. So we got lampshades, we got more poundage here. That's what we call poundage. So it's, there's premium antlers in there, but it's,
A lot.
you'd probably get excited about that.
Now, what is it? Why is it poundage? What does that term mean?
Poundage is just antler, because you buy all antlers by the pound, for the most part, unless they're trophy. Does that make sense?
Yep.
So this is poundage. That is like bigger stuff.
That's
So
the goods, and the poundage is just the.
so like here's a nice 160 buck, probably 150, 160. And there's bigger in here, man. There's giant. And then we go here.
Jesus.
So there's a giant red stag.
Oh my god.
And then there's farmed whitetail. So there's,
I got piles of those.
yeah, I got piles of that too. And then we got
They're easy.
trophy mule deer.
Wow.
So these are all, they're 75, 80-inch sides. There's typical, non-typical. You name it, they're in there, man.
Easy on them
Fallow
things. I'm
deer?
coming to get them.
What?
I said easy
What's
on them.
that?
Don't dent them. I'm coming to get them.
There's moose up there. There's a giant pile of moose that you can't see.
OMG. That's
Big
glory.
sheds,
That's heaven.
more
I think
crap,
I
more
died and went to
crap,
heaven.
More crap. Hold on. We haven't even gotten to the elk yet, guys. Don't mind my living room.
Wow.
Finished chandelier that's ready to go out. That's a client from Canada going to pick it up. There's a pile of elk sheds.
Wow.
There is elk euros back there.
And
See those euros? Those are like 350 bulls off the res, man.
do you use those for you put those on?
I would love to build a chandelier out of elk euros, but I just haven't had an order, and I refuse to use cutoffs. So honestly, I might end up trading those for sheds. But I want you to see this pile over here.
Jesus.
These are all match sets, man. And I'm not joking with you, man. There is some dandies in here. Now these get me excited. Like here is a giant 7-point brown match set. Look at the button on this thing.
Oh my lord.
So if you guys want to come up here turkey hunting and come obsess about antlers for 10 hours and do a podcast here, man, we can.
Does your turkey season correlate with shed season or shed hunt?
No, it does.
Yeah.
It does. Yeah, we could make an excuse to go shed hunt.
Turkey shed.
I could
Shed
see
hunt and turkey hunt.
I'd be turkey hunting. I'd find one elk shed and I would just carry that thing around the rest of the day and forget all about the turkey.
Well, remember, guys. Remember what I talked about.
Oh, that was
Because
sick. That's sick.
Did we lose you?
No, we're still here.
Okay.
We made you full screen so we could see everything.
Dude, the way that spirals on the bottom, that's
So
amazing.
this one is actually, you'll love this, guys. You're actually gonna shit here. Okay, so every one of these centers has a match set
Yeah.
out.
Wow.
So this has 8 match sets on the bottom, and they're big match sets, dude.
So is the inner circle and then the matching one's the outer circle?
Yeah.
So it's the left and then the
Yes,
right?
with one in between.
Yeah.
So this is a match set right here.
Yep.
This is a match set right here.
Yep.
This is a single.
Yep.
But I want to show you this. So this is the center. So we put these big elk buttons in them.
Dude, that's so sick. Wow.
And spinning them is even better, man.
Yeah. Dude.
So then I have it hooked up on a wing. And then these are actually match sets. And these are match sets.
Oh my god.
About how many antlers are in that one section right there?
Man, there's probably, 60 in this thing? 50?
I got to get back to shed
Size,
hunting. I got to
right?
go.
That's crazy.
That's gorgeous.
And that's just one tier of the complete product. There's another section to that.
So this chandelier is done. This one is hanging above. So if you look, it's hard to see because there's a lot of shit going on here. But that chandelier is
It's complete.
done.
Yeah.
I'm blown away.
I've never.
Listen, you like sheds, bro? You'll love my chandeliers.
Yeah. I mean, I've seen antler chandeliers before. I've never seen anything like that.
Not the art that is put
the way
into
you
that.
the way you put them together and the symmetrical and yeah, that's unreal.
Incredible job, Nick.
Yeah.
Wow.
Thanks, guys. This is that ridiculous thing that I'm working on.
That's a double decker. Look at that thing.
No, this is a 4-decker.
Oh my.
So we got elk, moose, elk, mule deer, and this is a whole tier of mule deer, guys.
Yeah.
So let me show you. It's literally a whole tier, 2 rings of mule deer.
Oh my god.
And then it goes up with these red stag that are not put in yet. And we got little moose. And then this tier of whitetail is going on top of that. So that'll be the 3rd tier. So it'll sit like right there.
Mm-hmm.
And then we're going to go up again. And we have fallow deer on the top. And it's going to be 8 foot tall.
Jesus.
Oh. With the cherry on top. That's incredible. Dude, what do you think the man hours took to build that?
That's a secret, man.
Oh, okay. All right, sorry.
I'm good at it. I'm really good at it, guys. So think about something that you do. What do you guys do for work? I don't think I asked you that.
We have boring jobs now. We're both boring.
Your boring job, you become more efficient the longer you do it.
Correct.
Yeah, no, I get.
I understand. Yeah. So I was a fishing captain.
If you're framing out windows, right? The first one you do might take you an hour, and then the second one takes you half an hour, and then by the end of the day, you're just banging them out.
Yes, with the exception that every one of these is an art form, and I have to basically plan out where the wiring's going.
As you're doing it.
So, you want me to show you? I can
Is that
show
a
you.
rhetorical question or like expecting
Yeah,
us to
it's
know?
Yeah, I know you guys like antlers. So like in here, this is actually drilled out. You see the holes in it?
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
There's holes all the way through it. And so basically when I'm building the structure, I'm planning where my wiring's going there, how I'm getting it up to here without you seeing it
Right.
in the antlers. And then as I build these tiers, I actually drill them out. So this is actually got holes all over if you look real close.
Oh
So if you
yeah.
look
Yep.
there and there and there and right there. So it's drilled out. So then after I build the chandelier, all my wiring gets, built through there. And then my employee will epoxy and paint all that. And so you'll still have all these different tones. So you'll have like a dark horn, a light horn, a brown horn, a whiter horn. That's what makes them unique, right, guys? That's why you guys like your antlers. If you wanted them all stained, wouldn't be the same.
Problem is, I would just stare at that thing for hours. Would never leave it alone.
So the only thing that has changed is the amount of antlers that I deal with, right?
Mm-hmm.
So, I have like a couple antlers in my possession. And one of them's sitting right here. Let me grab it. Check this thing out.
Steve, do you ever think that we would talk about antlers like this? I know
It was actually
you
one
have
of
to
the
listen to
first
me.
antlers that I bought.
Oh my God.
What do you guys think?
That's a toad.
So it's an 84-inch mule deer shed out of North Idaho. Now, if you know anything about where antlers come from, North Idaho doesn't have any big mule deer anymore. They just don't exist in populations anymore. There might be one or two walking around out there, but you're not picking up sheds from them anymore. And so this guy's got a giant inline. And I bought this horn years and years ago. And I'm kind of possessive. And part of it is because of the color.
Mm-hmm.
Look at how chocolatey that thing is. Just gets you excited. What do you think?
I agree.
Here's I had another cool piece that I get. This is a Dall sheep horn. And so you could buy and sell in the state that I'm in. You can buy and sell stone and Dall legally because they don't have them in the state. So this is a Dall sheep horn that I can build. Like I could put a bulb inside it, and then this whole thing will glow. Like you can do some rad stuff with antlers and horns.
As he hawks it across the garage.
Listen, don't even worry about it, man. I got more.
People are turning.
Check this out. This looks cool, huh? What?
They're just losing their mind. They're like, "Wow, what did you just do with that?"
Yeah, well, why don't we take a big antler and cut it up next time? That'll get people going.
It's funny. It's so funny because I bring this kid with me one time moose shed hunting, right? And he finds this like drop tine moose shed. So and I'm like you, dude. I just smash them around, whatever. Just put them. They're antlers, right? Like they're cool, whatever. They're antlers though, right? So you put them in the back of the truck. We start strapping them, ratcheting them in. The whole bed of the truck's all piled up, dude. And he's like, well, what about when the ratchet starts to ratchet? It's going to scratch the antler. I said, bro, what happens when a 2,000-pound moose is smashing into each other? What, do you don't think that they can't take the resistance from each other? Like, it's an antler, bro. Who cares? It's an antler.
Yeah.
They're just
Dusty.
something else.
Antler dust. Smells like money.
Tastes
That
like
is
money, too, right?
correct.
You want me to taste it? I'm
No.
not tasting
No.
it.
The aphrodisiac.
Yeah, oh, well, hey, listen.
It's like Viagra.
Ask my wife. I think it works.
Nick, this has been a wild ride, man. Thank you for joining us. This has been just absolutely incredible. It's been incredible for me, especially being an antler guy. But this is not over. We need part 2. Part 2 is a definite thing in the coming for sure.
Well, do you think that you have all your resource there? So you're probably just going to come up and go turkey hunting and do a little shed hunting, but we can maybe do it after hunting season sometime. So.
All right. Sounds like a plan to me. Nick, why don't you?
Also, I didn't get to tell you earlier. Thank you for your service. We really appreciate everything you've done.
You're welcome.
Nick, why don't you tell everybody where they can find you, where they can check out your project, where they can see your chandeliers, where they can come and reach out to you if we do have any vets that are tuning in and listening?
Oh, I'm sure we do. So Custom Antler Designs will get you to my page. So www.customantlerdesigns.com is my main website. My Instagram is custom_antler_designs. My Facebook is custom_antler_designs. My Threads is the same. I do a little bit on YouTube under Nick Jeffries. But really the Dark Horse Expeditions, there's a link on my Instagram, but if you just go to www.darkhorseexpeditions.com, and I know that's hard spelling for half of us, that'll get you to our website, which will take you to our YouTube channel and such. And if you want to go join us on some expeditions via YouTube, I'd love to have you following. And then, we're always so inclined to have invites to different places or donations of any kind, or maybe they have something that has to do with a veteran or another nonprofit that, is just in between. Reach out to us. So my partner and I, Scott Baldwin, are pretty easygoing and open, but those are how you reach me. And if you just Google my name, man, I'll pop up in a million places. So Antler Guy Washington is another one, but it is kind of interesting being in the antler game. But my Instagram is where a lot of my focus goes for selling lights. So
absolutely, Nick, and I'll drop everything below here so that all the links are there in the bio as far as the podcast goes. If you're watching live, you're going to have to go over to Spotify or Pandora or wherever you listen to your podcast, but I'll put the links below so you guys can all check them out. Nick, it's been an absolute blessing. Once again, thanks for your service and everything that you do. Incredible work. Hopefully we get to link up soon and maybe actually come out and do a turkey hunt, but we're really looking forward to you killing 5 elk in your 5 elk tag. So for everybody else, thanks for taking the ride right here on the Outdoor Journey.